hip, Tzu Chi volunteers hand out relief items to fire survivors in the United States and the Philippines. We meet Tzu Chi volunteer Mu Chuanjie, who walks steadfast on the Tzu Chi path despite coming from a Christian background. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Helen Liao. Thank you for joining us. In times of devastation, Tzu Chi volunteers are always there to lend a hand. In the United States, a huge apartment fire in Hempstead, New York, devastated the lives of many living in the complex. Upon hearing the scope of the disaster, Tzu Chi volunteers partnered up with the local Red Cross to offer some immediate relief for the 21 families who were the most severely affected. Meanwhile, in the Philippines, Tzu Chi volunteers also came to the rescue of the victims of 3 separate fires. During their distributions, the volunteers did not forget to promote Tzu Chi's environmental conservation ideals, with many recipients reciprocating by collecting plastic bottles to donate back to the Buddhist NGO.
A fire caused by faulty electrical wiring displaced 112 families in Malabon City of the Philippines. As assistance, Tzu Chi volunteers brought supplies for those staying temporarily at a local elementary school.
Thank you.
We received rice, a sleeping mat, and a blanket. That's a big help for us as we are still sleeping on the cold floor. In Pasay City, a 2-hour fire devastated 466 families. Without a roof over their heads, these victims sought shelter at a school. To lend a helping hand, Tzu Chi volunteers brought rice and dried goods for the survivors. During the distribution, volunteers also introduced Tzu Chi's signature gray blankets, with many reciprocating Tzu Chi's love by donating their PET bottles. It's to help others in need because recyclables like this can be used in many ways to benefit other people. I tried to find as much as I could so that they can be turned into blankets.
Thank you po.
In San Mateo, a residential fire ruined 125 families' lives. Among the survivors is Donna Medina, who has 4 children. It is hard to have a proper place to live in. It's very cold here at night, and I worry about my children's health. I hope to rebuild our home soon. The senseless fire puts those without jobs further into poverty, but volunteers hope to bring them a ray of hope through their aid distributions. Meanwhile, in the United States, a massive apartment fire in Hempstead, New York, affected over 150 families. Some residents lost all their belongings in the fire.
I lost everything. I didn't really, I don't have a home to go back to. My apartment is uninhabitable. I would never think like that would happen to me. So it's kind of like, it's just still a little unbelievable.
To offer their assistance, Tzu Chi volunteers from the Long Island area partner with the local Red Cross. Tzu Chi prepared hot meals for 21 of the most severely affected families and handed out not only warm clothes for the winter, but also $600 per household.
When I hug her, I say, oh, we are a family. We are here to support you, to help you get back to normal life. She heard of that. She was crying. She said, I lost everything. She didn't take anything with her because she didn't expect the fire was so severe.
Yeah, we're doing a little better. They're in the process of trying to clean our apartment out and repair it. So there's a lot of people that are trying to help. They're coming together to help everybody.
In the Philippines, to help Typhoon Haiyan survivors rise above their difficulties, Tzu Chi volunteers have been providing aid, material assistance, and shelter for the affected. Volunteers from Marikina and Tacloban City recently teamed up to conduct home visits in the city to check up on local residents. But first, let's turn our cameras to Indonesia and join the Tzu Chi volunteers there as they help one woman get much-needed medical attention.
65-year-old Tzu Chi care recipient Margarita suffers from poor health and has been tormented by chronic illness. Her deteriorating health is a growing concern for her family.
I'm really happy because this is your second visit already. Previously, I suffer from high blood pressure and gout, and I have been in and out of the hospital over the last 5 years.
On top of transportation costs, high medical fees have further added to the family's financial burden. Fortunately, Tzu Chi reached out with a helping hand.
We will go with the doctor's recommendations. If she has renal failure and requires dialysis, we will cover the costs for her dialysis treatments.
Margaretha has been receiving treatment for her condition for over 18 months thanks to the help of Tzu Chi. Not only is her family grateful for Tzu Chi's assistance, they also hope this love may spread to even more people in need.
Saya mengucapkan banyak terima kasih pada
Tzu Chi's assistance has really helped our family. I wish all you volunteers good health and that you may continue to work on behalf of the greater good. I hope those in need may also receive help through Tzu Chi.
By reaching out to the suffering regardless of race or faith, volunteers are helping them regain their confidence and dignity in life. Seeing that help has finally arrived, Jenilyn burst into tears.
I have never stopped believing that one day someone will come to help me. Perhaps this is it. I really hope Tzu Chi is the answer to my prayers.
Since Typhoon Haiyan, Jenilyn and her family have been living in this crudely built shelter. In July 2014, Jenilyn underwent a colostomy. However, due to the family's financial struggles, Jenilyn had yet to undergo a closure surgery till today.
If no one came to visit them and if there was no Tzu Chi Foundation, what would have become of them?
Witnessing the plight of others has heightened the volunteers' commitment to continue working on behalf of those in need.
Every morning when I wake up, I'm scared to look at myself in the mirror. My face was not like this before.
Having to raise and support 8 children, Lorena's family simply cannot afford treatment.
I really want to live longer because my children are still very small.
Meanwhile, in Bohol, volunteers first met Judith at a free clinic held last December.
My teacher told me to attend the medical clinic in Bohol. She said that the Tzu Chi Foundation has helped many people and maybe they will be able to help me.
Volunteers returned again to check on the girl's condition, hoping to do something for the large tumor on her head.
She will need many specialists to evaluate her problem. Specialists in neurology, dermatology, plastic surgery, anesthesiology, and cardiology.
And this boy, who was born with clubfoot, now has a chance to walk normally.
The volunteer said they will be able to cover the cost of surgery and the hospital is not too far away. I'm so grateful, especially to Master Zheng Yan.
With Tzu Chi's assistance, these patients know they will one day rise above adversity and overcome their struggles.
In our weekly series on young vegetarians, today we meet 6-year-old Chen Keyu, who has been a vegetarian since birth. Since young, Keyu's grandmother Chen Keyu has been educating the young girl on the importance of safeguarding and respecting all living beings. Keeping her grandmother's word close to heart, Keyu promised to stay firm in her decision to go vegetarian at both home and at school. Let's take a look.
肉不好吃，很好吃哎，我不想吃。有一个原因，他喜欢吃素。
Our body will be healthy and have plenty of strength if we eat well. My grandchildren like to eat softer vegetables, so I need to cook them longer than usual. I told my grandchildren that going meatless can make our skin smooth. Master Zheng Yan often says that if our skin is soft and smooth, it means we are really healthy. It is not okay if I am the only person adopting a vegetarian lifestyle. The master says that we need to try our best to spread the word about vegetarianism to others. I once asked my granddaughter, does she think that Buddha could kill an animal? She replied, no. I then asked her, does it hurt when I bite your hands? She said, yes, of course. This is really wasteful. We only need to cut a little bit off here. Look, isn't it easier for us to wash now? She told me that it is really hard to cut vegetables using this knife. I said you need to use more strength and move your knife back and forth. After seeing the 2 boxes of vegetables over there, she said, how will I ever finish cutting all of these? Master Zheng Yan often says that we should not be afraid of having too much to do. As long as we have the heart to give, we'll have the strength to finish everything.
At first, my mother was afraid that Keyu would stop being a vegetarian when she saw her friends eating meat at school. My mother then took my daughter to the market to see how people kill fish. She told Keyu that the fish will bleed a lot when we kill them. I think the visit to the market left a deep impact on her.
I once saw someone killing a fish at the market. After seeing that, I stopped eating meat because I felt bad. The fish will bleed a lot if we kill them.
When I was pregnant with Keyu, I was busy all the time, and I think it affected my daughter's personality. After joining Tzu Chi and becoming a vegetarian, however, I think my daughter has learned to be more patient.
We need to stay firm in our decision to go meatless and not be influenced by others. Look, I have been a vegetarian since young. Everyone in our family is a vegetarian and we are all very healthy. Please raise your hands if you feel that you're healthy. Yes, I did. Everyone, please raise your hand. In year 2000, the Tzu Chi International Medical Association was established with the goal of serving those without the means to receive medical care. Inspired by the association's philosophy, over the years, medical personnel from different faiths have joined hands to serve the less fortunate. Helping members of the public measure their blood pressure at a Tzu Chi free clinic is TIMA member Zhang Su-yu. Besides tending to her patients' needs, Zhang also helps out as a sign language interpreter. Although coming from a different faith, Zhang Su-yi believes that helping the needy should not be bound by race or faith because love is universal.
We also have care groups in Christian churches which are similar to TIMA. I hope to share the advantages and good deeds TIMA has been doing with those in our care groups.
Checking a child's teeth with extra attentiveness is first-timer Ling Hongming.
After coming here today, I realized that TIMA is really well equipped. The dental equipment used by the association is similar to those I used while serving my time in the military.
Ling says the purpose of his participation is to gain a better understanding of the association. Furthermore, touched by TIMA members' dedication and organizational skill, Ling promised to bring his family members to serve in future events.
All the Tzu Chi brothers and sisters happily devote themselves to helping those in greater need. I think the volunteers' gestures can influence my children in a positive way.
Pharmacist Chen Yongyao says participating in Tzu Chi's free clinic is similar to going on a spiritual journey.
Coming here to serve the less fortunate really helps calm my mind. I always feel rejuvenated after joining a Tzu Chi free clinic.
By serving those in greater need, TIMA members have experienced firsthand the joy of giving. Today we meet Tzu Chi volunteer Mu Chuanjie, who grew up as a Christian. His past experience with Tzu Chi taught him that the Buddhist NGO was accepting of all faiths, and thus in 2012, when he joined the volunteers' ranks, he found that the Bodhisattva path was just as easy to walk as a Christian one. Let's take a look at his story.
Honor your father and your mother, as the Lord your God commands you, that your days may be long, and that it may go well with you in the land that the Lord your God is giving you. You shall not murder, commit adultery, or steal. There are several commandments in the Bible that are similar to Tzu Chi's 10 precepts.
Growing up as a Christian, Mu Chuanjie first met Tzu Chi as a volunteer in Australia. Mu says what really changed him was watching the performance of the Sutra of Profound Gratitude towards parents put on by the Tzu Chi Sydney volunteers back in 2002.
I had thought it was just a general performance about honoring one's parents. I was surprised to see how thought-provoking and detailed the message was. Of course, that performance has stayed with me ever since.
Finally, in 2012, the seed inside Mu blossomed as he began walking the Tzu Chi path.
When I heard that Tzu Chi's missions crossed the borders, ethnicity, and even religious differences, my worries were put at ease. I didn't feel any hindrance in my commitment to Tzu Chi.
Mu also participated in group study sessions and the morning Dharma lessons with Master Zhenyan. Just starting out, Mu found the Buddhist scriptures hard to understand.
Understanding the Dharma is an obstacle in itself, and it was only after participating in volunteer training that I was exposed to such language. The Master always says she has nothing to leave her disciples but wisdom.
Determined, Mu listened to the Dharma lectures daily, even if he was not fluent in Taiwanese.
I don't know why, but when I listen to the Master's teachings, I can understand her Taiwanese. I can't say that it's 100%, but I comprehend at least about 80% of it.
Taking notes, Mu not only writes down the changes he has gone through, but also each turning point in his life.
Walking on this path, no matter if it's called the Bodhisattva path or the Christian path, this road is one of cultivation and enlightenment, where I can also recruit others and pass on this spiritual message. There is no good or bad on this path. The decision I made to start this journey is the smartest choice I've made in my life.
Today, we bring you more facts surrounding the controversial development at the Tzu Chi Neihu grounds. What most people may not be aware of is that a conservation area that lies within a city's limits can be legally rezoned and developed. This is why the Neihu district has exploded over the past 2 decades, with all the lands surrounding the Tzu Chi grounds have already been turned into either residential community or business districts. Let's find out more.
We are here at the intersection of Chenggong and Mingquan roads in Neihu. Over here used to be farmlands, the so-called conservation areas.
Zhu Wenshan, who grew up in Dahu, remembers there was barely anyone living in the area back when he was a child, but now it is full of roads and high-rises.
To my left used to be conservation areas for farmlands, while to the right were hill conservation areas.
Next to the Tzu Chi Neihu grounds stands the Dahu Shanzhuang residential community. 3 high-rises, 16 stories high, connected by a road 20 meters in width.
The MRT station here and high-rises there all sit on what used to be conservation areas, including this part of the MRT line and whole of the Section 5 of Chenggong Road. All except the Tzu Chi grounds have been developed.
There used to be only 130,000 homes in Neihu, but that number rapidly climbed to 800,000 in 2 decades. Why can these conservation areas be developed? Because of the loopholes in the law.
It is stated that changes can be made to any conservation area within the city's limits.
Many might assume a conservation area within a city cannot be built on, similar to a national park or nature reserve. However, the definitions and laws governing the 2 areas are completely different.
Due to population growth pressures, conservation areas within a city might need to be changed into residential or commercial zones. A review is needed every 3 to 5 years. Over the years, the Taipei City Urban Development Committee has granted 54 applications to change the use of conservation areas. Last year alone, 4 applications were granted.
Experts believe that it serves no purpose for the Tzu Chi Neihu grounds to remain undeveloped.
Though it is deemed a conservation zone, it has already been utterly destroyed. That's not a conservation area. It's paved with concrete and full of metal sheds. It's downright ugly. How can it be called a conservation area?
If everyone can come together in the name of environmental protection and improvement, then perhaps an agreement can be reached and a better future for Taiwan opened.
Dahu Shanzhuang, the residential community adjacent to the Tzu Chi Neihu grounds, floods easily and was severely flooded twice in the past. Residents blame the Neihu grounds for it sits on top of the nearby conservation area. But the truth is, even though the two areas are right next to each other, they're actually governed by two different river systems. Here's more on a report.
That land is a conservation area, right? So why insist on developing it?
Residents living around the Tzu Chi Neihu grounds don't understand why the charity insists on developing the land and fear the floods might return.
The whole community was flooded, including the basement we were living in. Because of the flood, my mother decided to move upstairs.
During both Typhoon Winnie of 1997 and Typhoon Nari of 2001, Dahu Shanzhuang was flooded up to 1 story high. The culprit of both floods was the rainwater from the mountains, which should have discharged into Dahu Lake. People worry that further developments will exacerbate this problem. However, hydraulic experts think otherwise.
Dahu Shanzhuang is actually affected by the Dagou River system, while the Tzu Chi Neihu grounds is under another river system, called the Niuchou River.
In 2013, Tzu Chi asked the Hydrotech Research Institutes of the esteemed National Taiwan University to conduct a study that found that the Dagou and Niuchou River system are separated by a mountain, so they do not affect each other even during heavy rains. Though runoff from both systems ultimately end up in Dahu Lake, would developing the Tzu Chi Neihu grounds compound the problem of the flooding.
65% of the land inside the grounds will be reverted back into grassland, so water may seep through easily. Also, all buildings will be equipped with rainwater collection systems.
Currently, the Neihu grounds is paved with cement. However, as the NTU report points out, in the new development proposal, only 35% of the 4.48 hectares will be used for buildings, and the freed up land can help absorb flood runoff by as much as 40%. Upon opening the culvert leading to the Dahu Lake from Dahu Shanzhuang, one sees that it is full of sediment, which is why floodwaters could not be discharged quickly enough. Only by resorting to scientific facts and logical reasoning can we see the truth to this problem.
We go to Tzu Chi Anping Liaison Office in Tainan, Taiwan at the end of the show, where Tzu Chi volunteers organize a charity bazaar to give second-hand items and extend a lease of life. Furthermore, the proceeds from the sale were donated to the Buddhist NGO's International Relief Mission. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for watching DaAi Headlines. Goodbye.